What is up, everybody? Today we'll be talking about Severance Season 2, Episode 5. This episode might not have been as crazy as Episode 4, but we still have some interesting topics to break down. Mark's reintegration is progressing in ways he did not expect. Helly's return is not what she hoped for. And Dylan just found out a hidden message that could change everything. We will be diving into that and so much more, so please hit that like button, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. I want to start by talking about Mark, and in this episode he's still kind of struggling with his reintegration process. So you can see that he's like, he seems kind of sick. He's just like walking around and coughing everywhere. This is very similar to PD, who also went through the reintegration process, and we saw him in the first season, and he was definitely really sick also. So Mark isn't done with this process yet, but something huge happens at the end of this episode that I was shocked by. At one point, Mark sees his Innies world for the first time, and he sees Miss Casey. Meanwhile, we finally get Helly R back on the severed floor, but her return is not at all what she expected. The board is using Helly R again, even though Helena wanted out. She did not want any part in this. But they're using her again, and when she finally sees Mark again, he is very distant, and she has no idea why. This is because Mark cannot come to terms that he had been messing around, not with Helly R, but with Helena Egan. Obviously, Mark does not tell her this, because I don't know how she would react to that, but Milchick does stop Mark at the end of the episode and tells him that he knows what happened. I'm not totally sure how Milchick knows this at all. I mean, I guess they gotta have cameras like in the tents everywhere on the campsite that they were. I don't know. This was kind of a crazy moment for me because I was like, they really do know every single thing that happens. So yeah, Mark definitely seems like he's losing hope. I mean, he knows that Lumon knows everything that goes on, so he doesn't know how there's any way to fight back here. Now I want to talk a little bit about Dylan in this episode. Dylan's still pretty sad from losing Irving, and they even throw like a funeral for him in this episode, but then Dylan finds something huge. It turns out Irving left behind directions to the testing floor. Now I need to talk a little bit about Miss Huang, because in this episode she definitely gives a little bit away. She's always been like a little bit off, like she's just a weird character, and she's been even creepy at times, but this episode gives a little clue that there is actually something wrong with her. There's a funny scene between her and Milchick, and they're in this like small room, and she looks at him and says, "Can I tell you a question?" She says, "Can I tell you a question?" And then he's like, "Okay, what?" And she says, "I don't think you should throw them a funeral because that would make them feel more like humans." And then Milchick just looks at her and is like, "First of all, that's not a question, that's an opinion." So I don't think this is just human error on her part. Like, I think there's actually something wrong with her. I think she's either like a clone of somebody or she's severed, but I don't think her brain's like all there. And we're very close to, like, I think finally figuring out what or who she is. I do also want to touch on the fact that in this episode we saw that the Outies in this show are not really safe either. Milchick is standing with Natalie because he's about to have his like review of the month from the board, and he just like casually asks her opinion on the disturbing paintings that he received and she received too, and she doesn't answer at all, but her face says everything. We can tell that she's definitely uncomfortable, and when Milchick says that they have similar struggles at the company, that definitely shows us that the Outies are not safe either. Even those people who work for Lumon in the real world are also being manipulated. Finally, I want to talk about the like final moments of the episode with Mark and Milchick, and Mark is sitting at his desk at Lumon, and I really think that his Outie comes in for a split second, and because you see the shift, but then it goes back to regular Mark, his Innie, and he knows where to do the computer and stuff, and he walks out. But he walks out early because he just got like transferred to the Outie for just a split second, and Milchick notices kind of Mark acting weird because he leaves like 6 minutes early or whatever, but by that time, I'm pretty sure it's the Innie Mark, but it is weird, and you get to see his reintegration kind of coming full circle here. That's about it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave a like. Please comment down below what you thought about this episode, and will you be watching the next couple episodes? I'm totally into this show, and if you haven't watched this show yet, you need to go watch it. I think it's one of the best TV shows on TV right now, and it's just incredible. And I will see you next time.